So what we're going to do today is look at answering 12 questions, all to do with the volume of pyramids. And we're going to do it into 3 sections. The first 4 questions are standard, straightforward. Then the next 4 a bit more complicated, and the last 4 more challenging still. So in order to do this, you've got to remember what the volume of a pyramid is. So I'm just going to jot down in here, make space, and this is what you need to always refer back to. So this is the kind of like your toolbox of knowledge. So the volume of a pyramid is always going to be 1/3 times the base times the perpendicular height. And that's what you've always got to remember. That's the key growth green box. So remember that, and you should be fine in all of these questions. So let's look at the very first one. Here we've been given the perpendicular height of 9. We've got a base, it's a square base because both dimensions are the same. So I'm simply going to use this formula here and say the volume is 1/3 times the base, which is 4 squared because it's an area, a square, times 9. And you can use your calculator to work that out. 4 4s are 16. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 16s, 48 units cubed. So let's look at question 2. Here the base is a circle. So we've got to remember the area of a circle. Again, it's going to be pi r squared. And we can say that pi can be 3.14. They often do that. So the formula here, the volume is going to be 1/3 times the base, pi r squared, times the perpendicular height. So I'll do that on my calculator. If you did that on your calculator, you should come to an answer, if you just did it to a whole number, an integer, of 75. So I'll let you have a go at looking at how to do that. Here we've now got a triangular base. So we've got to remember the area of a triangle is going to be 1/2 base times height. Now that height is that h there that we're talking about. So the volume here is going to be 1/3 times the area of the base, which is 1/2 times 6 times 5 times the height, 10. Looks complicated, but actually you can put all this into your calculator, and again rounding it to a whole number comes to 50. Now we get to this one here. This is a hexagonal, hex being 6, so imagine there's 6 sides here. You can't actually see it, it's covered up, but imagine that. We want the volume. Well, again, remember the volume is 1/3 times the base, and they actually give us the base of 144. And the clue there, you've got the square there, and then times that by the height. So if you did that, you should come out with 480. So they're the first 4 questions. Okay, hopefully you've managed to do those well. Let's look at the next set of 4 questions. So here we go, questions 5 to 8. Now, these are slightly different because we're introducing the concept of a slant height. So in these 4 examples, we've all got slant heights. And to remember to do this, we need to also remember Pythag's theorem. And Pythag's theorem, if you remember, if we have a triangle like this, call that A, B, and C. If it's right angle, then the relationship is going to be that A squared plus B squared. So the 2 shorter sides, each of them squared. When you add those together, it's the same as the longest side squared. So that's our Pythag theorem. And so we'll need to know these 2 now to answer these questions. So let's choose this lovely colour here. So here, to get the volume, I need the perpendicular height. So I'm going to draw out the little triangle here, call that 13, that's my h. Now here I need to know that length there is going to be half of that. That length is going to be half of that, so it's got to be 5. So what I need to do now is I need to square each of these to find h. So 13 squared is 169. 5 squared is 25. I'm looking for the shorter side, so I take away 169, take away 25 is 144. So square root of 144 is 12. So I actually know that the height of that is 12. So now the volume is simply going to be a third times the base. In this case it's a square, so it's 10 squared times the perpendicular height, which we know as 12. And 12 divided by 3 is 4, so it's 400. Now let's look at question 6. In question 6, very similar to the one we've just done. First of all, I need to draw out the triangle. So there you go. So here's my triangle, right angled. I know that's 16. That base there is half of 24. So same process here. I need to find that perpendicular height. So what I do is I square 16, which I think is 256, but I'm probably right. 16 squared, 256. Square root of 12, which is 144. I'm looking for a shorter side, so I'm going to take those two away from each other. So if I did that, I come out as being 112. So that, I need to square root now 112. And I get out with a really awkward 10.58 ... Don't delete it from your calculator, keep it in as it is because you'll need this. Now I've got the perpendicular height. The volume is going to be a third times the base, so it's a square base, so it's 24 squared, times that number there. And if you left it in your calculator without rounding up, so I've left it in my calculator like that, I'm simply going to say, say times 24 squared equals, and then divide by 3. And I get 2032 if I leave it as a integer, a whole value. So the next video, I'm going to show the next 6 questions and how you can answer those. So hopefully this has been helpful, and we'll see where we go from here. So I just need to turn this thing off now.